Hello, and I'm coming to you today to talk about something in a take one episode. And in particular, it's the news has been out for a while, but Apple TV recently signed a deal with MLS, the Major League Soccer, the professional league in the United States, to show MLS games on Apple TV Plus for an added subscription. And so if you are an Apple TV Plus user, you pay your monthly fee, but then you can also pay to have MLS access. And so what's really interesting about this and what I wanted to discuss is we have spent a lot of time talking about um, what is the role of live sports entertainment on streaming services, and what is the appetite of consumers for live sports entertainment on streaming services. And it's really important and interesting that we need to note that out of the larger um, group of consumers, about half of those consumers are sport fans. So if you ask people who are sport fans out of a group, out of everybody, you lose about 50%, close to 50% right off the bat, because they're not sport fans. Now, and then within sport fans, you have your different niches and you have your different loyalties to leagues and things like sports and things like that. So what's really interesting is this conversation about now that streaming services are needing to show more profit, and the metrics are no longer number of subscribers, but how much profit is made off of these services. One of the questions is, what is the role of live sports entertainment? Because one thing that live sports entertainment does is it brings in a lot of sponsorship opportunities and a lot of sponsorship dollars. And among the logos that you see in the back, in my background right here, several of these companies have brought on or already have advertisements on their streaming services. And so because that's the case, then live sports entertainment is something that could be very viable for a lot of streaming services. And so I wanted to use the opportunity of MLS being on Apple TV Plus to discuss that. And what is interesting in particular to me is earlier this year, Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video included Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. So as soon as you opened it up, you would just see it. And that was included to their all subscribers. You didn't have to pay a special fee to watch Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video. However, with Apple TV Plus, you are going to have to pay an extra subscription, a special subscription, to get MLS access. And that's like an all access thing, kind of like DirecTV had with Sunday Ticket, and which will now be on a different streaming service. And your NBA ticket or NBA All Access, Major League Baseball All Access, NFL, things like that. So what's really interesting, though, is this the path forward to these streaming services, including live sports entertainment on their service? Because the primary question has been the cost associated with broadcast rights for these live sports entertainment leagues are astronomical and growing all the time. And so if a company is spending money or resources to gain those broadcast rights, well, they either have to offset that money through advertisements, which is what usually happens, or through cost to the end consumer. And so with streaming services, before there were ads on most of the streaming services, where was that cost going to come from? It was probably going to be passed on to the end consumer in some form or fashion. Now with advertisements, maybe some of that will be taken away a little bit. Some of that cost burden will be taken away a little bit, but still the question of the appetite is there, because you have people who consume these streaming services who are not sport fans. And you also have fans of sport that you may be a fan of football or baseball, but you're not a fan of basketball or hockey or MLS or something like that. And so you don't want to pay for those services in your what has been pitched for a long time, a la carte option of paying for only what you want. And so is this the model that Apple is using with Apple TV Plus? Is this the model on how to do this? How to include live sports entertainment? So in particular, what's happening with MLS access on Apple TV Plus is some games will be included or available to all Apple TV Plus subscribers in front of the paywall. So if you have Apple TV Plus, you subscribe to that, but you don't want to subscribe to MLS access, then you will be able to watch select games. For instances, all of the opening matches for across MLS are going to be placed in front of the paywall. So if you want to watch your favorite team, you would be able to do that without having to pay that extra access fee. And then throughout the season, there will be select matches that are included or in front of the paywall on Apple TV Plus, but most of them will be behind the paywall. Also, if you are an MLS season ticket holder, then you have access to all of the matches on Apple TV Plus. That's included with your season ticket status and the cost of your season ticket through your MLS club, which is another very, very interesting perk, and a way that possibly helps the drive some season ticket holders and selling season ticket holders on Apple TV Plus, and also people who are very interested joining Apple TV Plus, but also maybe that could push some people over into purchasing a season ticket pass for an MLS team rather than maybe a partial season pass or things like that. So I just find this really, really interesting. We have in the last 5 months, 2 examples of how companies are including live sports entertainment on their service. Amazon chose to include it to everybody without a special access. Apple TV Plus is including it, some of it to everybody, but most of it you have to pay special access for. And another thing that I want to point out that's very, very important is the distinction between what's known as tech companies and entertainment companies, because I think that's really, really important. What we're seeing with Amazon, where they included this service on Thursday Night Football, and it's just one game a week, but Thursday Night Football to all of their subscribers, and now Apple TV Plus, including some of the matches for MLS to all subscribers, but most of them behind the paywall, is there's a very, very large disparity in what tech companies can spend or what they're worth, and what entertainment companies can spend because of what they are worth. So I just briefly wanted to, the 3 tech companies that people talk about most when they're talking about streaming services are Apple, then Google, and then Amazon. The 3 entertainment companies that people talk about most when we talk about streaming services are Walt Disney, Netflix, and Comcast. So just for comparison, the entertainment company who is worth the most right now, and I'm recording this on January 9th, so obviously this changes from day to day, because but the largest company, or the company worth the most in the entertainment space, is the Walt Disney Company. And currently they are worth $173.82 billion. Okay. Comcast follows that up. They're worth $163.23 billion. And then Netflix is behind that at $141.32 billion. So that obviously sounds like a lot of money. But when we talk about tech companies, Apple is number 1, and they are worth $2.12 trillion, followed up by Google, which is worth $1.17 trillion, and Amazon, which is worth $909.88 billion. So what the entertainment companies can spend on live sports entertainment based on what they're worth really pales in comparison to what tech companies are worth, and therefore what they would be able to spend and possibly how they can engage with their end consumer. So we're seeing two tech companies use different paths and different techniques. Amazon included their Thursday night game to all subscribers. Apple is including some of their MLS matches to everybody, but most of them on special access. What will entertainment companies do? Could entertainment companies afford to take on the cost that a lot of these tech companies are taking on and be able to provide the service to everyone like an Amazon Prime did with Thursday Night Football on Amazon Prime Video? Or do they need to have some type of hybrid model like Apple TV Plus is using with MLS and the MLS access? These are really, really interesting questions. And as always, I hope to further this conversation and further engagement with everybody. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this. Have a great rest of your day.